Hi everyone. So this is a video that I thought I'd never have to make because I never thought that I'd ever be witness to this in my life. Yesterday was Wednesday. There's this show that happens at New Horizon Mall called Wild West Wednesdays. Every Wednesday. It weekly pulls over 400 people. But lately, there's been a huge problem. And that problem has to do with the takeover crowd. If you don't know what takeovers are, it's a street takeover. So basically, there'll be a crowd of people that forms. People will start essentially blocking the road and doing, like donuts, doing burnouts, doing just launching or drifting their car in general. And it's something that we need to stop this entirely. At the start of this video, you would have seen the video that I had to screen record off of TikTok because I did not have a proper copy of it. But also I added a little thing at the end of it showing actually something that my buddy Kyle did, which is kind of a funny thing, is there was this sign that was right by us, and we were still in the parking lot when that happened, and he saw the sign there and he just grabbed it and he ran over. He knew the guy on the tow truck. Actually, he's a friend of mine as well, not that we know each other that well or anything, but and the thing is, he put it up there and took a couple pictures and sent them to me. And so, yeah, and it was so funny because, me and Christina, we were, cheering when he got over there and actually put it on there once we noticed that. Because we were quite a ways back, to be honest, from it. But I will say, so with the crash, luckily, the driver was okay. He walked away from that with, 0 injuries, so that's good at least. But it was ridiculous. And these things are insane. Because here's the thing. You might not think that something like that is bad. You might not think that stunting out of a car show or even street takeovers are bad. But consider this. Consider that there were children there that were still in fucking strollers. There were people as old as at least 80, if not older, that I saw there. People that are fragile. People that have health concerns as well. And just people in general. It doesn't matter if you're old or if you're young or if you have any health problems. People could have gotten hurt. That Mustang could have, if he twisted it the wrong way, you can see in the video, there were people on the left side of where that Mustang was and could have hit them. Even where the camera was, if he lost control earlier, could have hit where the camera, that specific camera was on the front shot of it. It's honestly, it is insane and dangerous. It's stuff like that that ruins the fucking car community. And usually, my content's family friendly. I apologize, but that just needs to be said. And of course, my buddy Nils lives down there, and his dog is barking away. But that's fine. So, anyways, the thing is, I saw, and the one thing is, nothing was really being done to curb this as much either that I was noticing. Because there isn't very many volunteers. There's only, I think, 5 of them total. And there's over 400 cars that come, typically. And the one thing is, because we were talking to one of the volunteers, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. And Christina, she runs the Red Deer Cruise Nights, which pull in as many as they do, potentially even more. And they curb that pretty quick. Because you have to have kind of a firm hand and stuff like that with stuff like that. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going. And it won't stop. And we need it to stop. Because not only are people's lives in danger, But those of us who just want to show our car, like I didn't have this one out, I had my Mustang out. I was just showing my car and just having a good time and, you know, like hang out with a couple of friends of mine. That's all I was doing. And sparking up conversations with people with their cars. That's all I was there for. I wasn't going to try and do a burnout leaving or try and launch the car or anything like that. It wasn't worth it. And granted, not that that car can do much of that, but it's not the point. You know, even if I had a car capable of that, I'm not doing that. I make sure when I do my stuff, I make sure it's in a secluded area. Like, this is an example. I've done, you know, a video here. Or maybe I've done 2 videos here. Or maybe even 3. Of this kind of desolate corner. Hardly has any traffic almost ever. You know? It's gravel, right? Places like this is where you can come and you can experiment with your car and play with it. Because when you watch that video and you see what happens, and it's kind of a common thing with those newer Mustangs, the traction control isn't fully turned off, and as soon as the traction control kicks back in, goes into the pull. But what's interesting though, because like I'm experienced with driving, you know, old cars like this, and honestly, if you find yourself in a situation like that, the best thing you can do, let off the gas, hit the brake a little bit, and counter steer. You don't slam on the brake, because then that's when you lose all steering control. Just press the brake a little bit, just tap it, and you'll be okay. It's no different than driving in the wintertime. Like, if I need to slow down in the wintertime, I just let off the gas completely. If I'm starting to slide, let off the gas, I almost don't even hit the brake most of the time, and I just get control of the car back, and then get back on the gas again. It's one of these things, you know, that you learn about it, right? And unfortunately, like, because I know who it happened to. I'm not gonna name drop or anything like that. I believe I've actually met them at some of the Mustang events that I've been at, and it's an older gentleman that you know, unfortunately, I think the crowd got to him, because he's not normally a guy that does stuff like that. But there was a good-sized crowd there of at least 100 people, just around that corner and up the road, that are just, you know, egging people on to do stuff. And then unfortunately, people do it, and then that happened. I saw, and again, nothing was being done about this, I saw the same clapped out Nissan 350Z drift around that corner about 8 different times. He kept circling around the block, because again, it's the clout of all that crowd and everybody cheering them on and recording. And we need to stop this bullshit behavior, because we are giving these people a platform to show off, and we need to stop this shit. And I understand, like, people say, well, okay, because this happened in Balzac, which the closest track, unfortunately, for like, if you want to go down the drag strip, is gonna be Rimby, probably, which is about an hour and a half, give or take, from there. Possibly a little further than that. It might actually be 2 hours, but, and it's an 8th mile track. I've actually been out there. It's a fun time. And, you know, Race City got closed down years ago, and it kind of made it so that people didn't have a place to go to play with their cars, unless if you traveled, right? And that is a problem too, right? There isn't as many avenues to do that, but that's the one thing. Like I mentioned, you can go to back roads that have no traffic. You can find desolate corners like this. Just go around if you want to have fun, because I understand, believe me, I don't have the money to go to the track at all. I don't. So doing stuff like this and drifting around like this and doing donuts here, that's perfect. And I mean, and I don't really care, because my car's a bit of a beater, so it's not the end of the world if gravel gets kicked up. But at the same time, gravel getting kicked up, it's typically not going to hit your paintwork unless you have really wide tires on your vehicle and it's kicking up that way. But let's be honest, if you're doing a burnout anyways, there's going to be crap kicked up onto your fender anyways. So there's no difference. There's literally no difference whatsoever. So it's just, I just can't stress enough of how ridiculous this is, of how these takeovers have taken over, where, and at least this one, thank God they were actually letting people through, but there are we see so many videos out there of takeovers where literally, the reason why they're called a street takeover is because they block the road entirely and you can't get by. And people get injured all the time. You see videos of Mustangs, you see videos of, you know, even imports of Chargers, of whatever you want to come up with. There's a video out there of them crashing into a crowd. And it's ridiculous. And also, like, that there is a certain thing of, like, people don't know their cars. Yeah, there's a lot of that, to be honest. And, you know, whether or not that was the case with that Mustang, it's hard to say for sure. But, because I know that there actually is a recall for those about the traction control system and blah, blah, blah. Not going to get into that. Depending on what year that was. But, honestly, I wish I didn't have to talk about this. I wish I didn't have to try and tell people, stop this fucking nonsense. Because takeovers just aren't cool. Stuff like that just isn't cool. I like burnouts and donuts as much as the next car enthusiast. Because, I mean, what car enthusiast doesn't enjoy that sort of thing typically, right? You know, there is the odd one, but really, for the most part, we all like to do that. We all like to see it. But there's a time and place, like I mentioned. And it's part of actually a video I did before. Car show etiquette. Right? Where in that video, I mostly talked about, hey, don't bash other people's cars, don't be a dick, that sort of thing. And now it's like, hey, don't do that. Like, just don't stunt. Just don't fucking stunt when leaving a car show. Simple as that. It's just, I'm upset about this, to be honest, because this is also how places lose their venues. And this spot is absolutely perfect. It's New Horizon Mall. There is spots for, I think, about 500 cars or so. It is perfect. And, you know, it's one of these things where it's the only event of its kind around that's like that. That's at a good location and stuff like that. And that it's not too tight. Like, it's honestly kind of perfect. And a lot of the times, you know, you can kind of spread out a bit and be okay. And that's what I did, you know. But it's just, it's sad. It is really sad. And I wish that it would stop. Because like I said, I never thought that I would see that in my lifetime. Because from where I was sitting, I didn't see the crash exactly happen. But I saw what I thought was a Camaro, just, again, from a distance. I'm like 400 or 500 feet back from where it happened. Possibly even further than that. And the thing is, there was a big crowd, and I just see a gray car doing, you know, drift around the corner. So I look over, like, you hear that supercharger whine, and then you hear the, and then the crash. And I looked over, and I saw the pole fall. I kind of heard the crash and saw the pole fall. So, and I ran over. I was going to see if they were okay, but there were so many people around, I didn't want to do that. So, me and Christina kind of ran over, and then we didn't get too close to it. And, you know, apparently the driver was fine. So, there's at least something to be said in that nobody got injured. But, you know, it's just, it's ridiculous. And that lot, you can actually see from an event that wasn't theirs, but from a while back, like a few weeks ago. There was this event of Out West Trucks, I believe, had their show there, and they were doing burnouts, and they destroyed the lot. Like, there are burnout marks that are like that deep in the ground, right? And that's the problem. If you do a big enough burnout, like, yeah, you will actually leave indentations in the ground, not just your rubber, and you will melt the actual concrete and do that. And there was a couple of times throughout the night that I was tripping over it. So, and there was many other people that were. So again, it's just like shit like this just needs to stop. And I really don't know what more I could say about it, to be honest. So, anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.